kick off the final 4 races of this 2026 VCO Infinity. And while yes, championship fight may well and truly be all but academic at this point, fight for second, still plenty to be settled. Here at the America's National Park of Speed, we are ready to go once again. The final race at Road America in this edition of Infinity. Green flag drops and instantly David Sobrero tries to split the middle and make it 3 wide for the lead. Looks like some chaos in the background, but I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Sobrero splits the middle, takes the lead of the race as we scamper out through turn 1. No grass and gravel really being kicked up as down the hill on the brakes into what is apparently turn 3. And on the nose of one of the grid and go machines, there was a car being spat off into the gravel. But onto the run into the moraine sweep, onto the back straightaway. What a start from David Sobrero.
Yeah, that was a crucial start there, splitting the middle, having that confidence, getting the jump off the rolling start. Side by side as Diogo Pinto fires one down the inside into turn number 5. Around the outside tries Sobrero to keep his foot, but can't quite keep it there. There's more contact and a bit of a pile-up out on the exit.
It's Pisoni. I'm not quite sure if he got tagged around or if he lost the rear end by himself and then set off the chain reaction. Also involved was Delta Sport, one of their better qualifying efforts as well. Meatball flag for them, alongside of Vitality Sim Racing and BS Plus Hybrid. So 3 signs of troubles as through the hurry downs and up towards the carousel. Just now the long right-hander before we have to work our way through the kink, and that's where commitment in these downforce cars will be important. EMM Esports, Raphael Renhofer dropping down outside the top 40 in what could have major implication in the points. Through the kink, separation building.
Yeah, indeed. So Diogo Pinto controlling the pace and Sobrero just staying with him. Look at that train, and that's how powerful the slipstream is. A fight for 5th. That's Piatek versus Samuel Ward. The Team PGZ car conceding on that occasion into kind of the corner again. A great overtaking opportunity if you've got that run through the kink. There's a car off in the background as well. I think potentially it could be Takalo. There's so many people that have gone off at any different point on the, so far on this lap. It's hard to see who's where. Once they break the beam for the opening lap, we'll start to piece together. But one thing is absolutely for certain: Diogo Pinto and Team Redline lead the opening lap.
That's for sure. Converts. Not expecting any fuel saving needed in this race, remember. Not expecting pit stops either. Sobrero back around the outside. It's about the front 8 trying to extend their advantage. Francisco Camillo one side of the road, then the other. Look at the gravel picked up on the exit of turn 3. Onto the back straight once again. Victor Wolfson for Coanda Esports. He's back in 12th position, remember. Points on the top right of your screen as they run right now. Redliner full 120 points in the good. Now David Sobrero is going to be back to 3rd because it's Francisco Camillo in that Capivara racing machine that's challenging around the outside underneath the Corvette bridge. They will tuck. And this is when Road America presents its multitude of ways to pass. And you can basically go side by side through every single corner here. David Sobrero dropping down to 4th momentarily as Peterson in the Falcon Sim racing machine looks to the outside.
Yeah, these guys are, I'll be honest, battling incredibly hard in the opening phase of this race. We've got 41 minutes left to go, and they're treating it as if it's the final lap. You're in a train, you're in a slipstream train. Get used to it. There's no pit strategy or anything like that. Largely at this stage, I would say the position there's contact there sent into the kink. You could see that coming from a mile away. Samuel Ward sent off through the kink.
It was Alex Spetz to the inside, and now we've got cars almost shoving into the grass on the run up towards Canada Corner. Falcon Sim Racing still fighting with David Sobrero, who's trying to watch for Blue Mercure and Olivier Piatek. The meatball flag for Sam Ward, as you would expect, and so at some point we'll have a chance to breathe and pick our way through some of the replays, but ending lap 2, that moment hasn't come just yet. The intensity by no means has settled, but it is 9 cars now in this leading train that is breaking away, but it could be a leading 2. If 3rd and 4th continue to squabble, Sobrero and Peterson, Falcon and TC yet to settle in amongst the 2 of them. And a shot from Sobrero from Olivier Piatek, not quite sending him quite clear. Instead, down the hill, they're not quite 3 abeam. But look at how this pack is continuing to lose time to our 2 leaders.
Yeah, I was just about to say Diego Pinto and Francisco Camilo doing this very, very well. They can see what's going on, and they're just tucked in behind each other, not bump drafting, but getting away, using each other's slipstream to pull a bit of a gap, knowing there's a lot more to lose here. Let's not fight too hard. And then you've got this absolute melee in the background, of course, of their mirror. Nikolai Pedersen trying to keep Piatek at bay. David Sobrero side by side with Piatek. Alex Spets just trying to hold off Kai back as well, up over the crest under the Corvette banner there and in towards turn number 6. And for a moment settles down. But like I was saying earlier, 40 minutes left of this race, and they're going at it way too hard, I think, for this stage. No complaints from us in terms of the action that we've got. But racecraft-wise, it's just allowing Pinto and Camillo to get away. I
think we have seen a questionable level of racecraft on occasion in this edition of VCO Infinity. Maybe the number of cars has had a part to play. Oh, Vitality Sim Racing just run into the back, I think, of Customs GT. And then BS Plus getting mixed up as well. And that is a wrecked Radical. Both sides of that car worse for the wear. And that was before technically they even got up to turn number 1. So there was drama and there was wrecked race cars early in proceedings. The next sign of any chaos was then down in towards turn number 5 when SimRC and Simone Personi found themselves unceremoniously turned around. And Zach, this is what happened. 3 wide and slightly pinched in the middle, and shove, whack, wallop. Delta Sport get tangled up as well. Unfortunately, Persone stays out of the way and avoids rejoining unsafely.
We have seen some pretty dodgy rejoins so far in this race, and it's unfortunate, but again, just that racing incident, you're 3 wide into turn 5. The car on the outside that was sweeping round, plenty of space between all 3 of them. It's just that case of trying to give way in the middle to the car on the inside and the car on the outside, who more than likely can't see each other. So you're very much pinched there, and I think just wrong place, wrong time, opening lap, and then you've got to wait. The carnage ensued there, just crawling, trying to get back going, but a good rejoin in the end. But in front of that, I mean, well, I don't really know what you can make of that. Just clumsiness on the opening lap. Armentario
tangled up there, as in the live picture. 2 seconds covers the gap between first and third. David Sobrero in front of Peterson, who now is also passed by Alexander Spets, who makes the move. This queue now joined by Victor Wolfson and Daniel Ola in the Sheza and Kawanda machines respectively. And not further, much further I should say, to Delatraz Automotive, Maniti Racing 07 and the ERE race team. Tommy Razier picking through the carnage quite successfully. Although, grid and go, Hadi Noah Mamasi is plus 28, Will Murdoch is plus 32. Another race where craziness on the start has meant drivers who struggled in qualifying, Zach, haven't necessarily paid the price in the race itself.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they've done the effort to negotiate their way through, very Lightning McQueen-esque, through the wreckage and the carnage, and pretty much a parallel to what we saw just a few moments ago in the Super Formula Lights at Okayama, the likes of Dara McCormack starting P30 all the way up to P12 in the opening lap. You know, it can give, it can take very easily, you know, in the snappy fingers, blink of an eye, all of that effort can be very quickly taken away. But a lot of these drivers, again, have made the most of that. You kind of go into those races, especially, you know, these radical races, with that kind of expectation that something at some point is going to go wrong, and quickly responding to any yellow flags or tyre smoke as caution and not an opportunity, as the majority of sim racers do when they keep their foot flat. Working their way back through the field, Kawanda, of course, Victor Wolfson working with, and a big lift off there on the back of Jesse Jones. I think maybe our first sign of actual racecraft to get onto the back of the train in front.
I think what you were describing earlier, by the way, is sometimes also known as the Archer brakes. And always great when Lewis and McClay gets a chance to scream that in the commentary booth, which he's done on his fair share of occasion. Live points, top right of your screen. You can see Kawanda slowly closing some of the deficit as they'll now pick their way past Jesse Jones. At the front of this queue, there's a little less fighting as, well, racecraft maybe on display. Alex Spets, David Sobrero working together. Olivier Piatek and Michael Kaibach in the Stint 1 Motorsport machine versus Blue Mercury Esports. No such working together there as they chop and change positions. And those top 2 now well and truly clear of the drafting range. And got to give a shout out to Francisco Camillo, who is holding at the front of the field with one of iRacing's finest.
I mean, yeah, you've got to give props. Fair enough. Yeah, Diogo Pinto is incredibly rapid, and that's what I love about Infinity. Again, it gives so many people their chance to showcase just how good they are. Francisco Camilo staying with him, the Brazilian for Capivara Racing. Yeah, slipstream going to be playing a factor in that, but he's there on pure merit. Of course, the pressure building for Capivara, I think they've got a lot less to lose than Team Redline. I would love to see Camilo make some sense.
Nothing to lose at the end of the day for Capivara Racing. An opportunity to measure yourself against the benchmark of a team like Redline, a driver like Pinto. Most significantly, look how calm he is right now behind the wheel, not letting the situation get to him, or to quote the formidable Max Pappas, not letting the pressure outweigh the pleasure, at least for the time being. Nikolai Peterson back in the scrap. Slips past Alexander Spets on the run up to turn number 1. Last lap, it was a couple of tenths of a second lost to the leaders for this chasing group. And so, let's see if we can pull up some lap time comparisons. At lap 4, they actually gained about a tenth and a half, but look at that lap 3. Because of all the fighting, 1 full second. That's where this group lost the draft, and almost 3 wide down into the braking zone of turn 5. I worry they're starting to resume hostilities once again.
Yeah, at what point do you think they're just going to go, yeah, fair enough, the top 2 are gone, let's just battle for the scraps now already? There's still 34 minutes left to go. Alex Betts on the inside of Nikolai Pedersen as they run through. It's the all-red Drago on the outside and the mint green Falcon that's just able to nip its way past. That is playing nicely into the hands of David Sobrero for TC Esports. And again, he's going to be looking at that and saying, go, 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 get out of here as quickly as I possibly can. Fair enough, he's going to be in a bit of a no man's land relative to Diogo Pinto and Camilo, but at the very least he could be in a pretty safe spot to secure a decent podium for TC Esports. You can see the gap visually growing, but of course through this section of the circuit, not really an overtaking opportunity. He's going to be hoping that Pedersen and Spets once again go side by side through Canada corner. The gap only 7/10 of a second. He needs a couple more yet to feel even slightly safe.
Looking very relaxed. The action's a little bit deeper in the pack, and it's going to be 3 wide, and Victor Wolfson sees the chance to cut underneath and grab 2 for the price of 1. On offer, why not take it? Olivier Piatek and Michael Kaibach were so preoccupied with battling one another. Didn't see that. Wolfson's now +9. Clinical moves on display as well. The gap down to 114 points. Trying to keep something at play. Although again, remember, expecting the next race, NASCAR Trucks at Silverstone, to be what could be the race that settles things. Jesse Jones passes Kaibach, and guess what? Piatek and Kaibach are ready to resume the hostilities once again.
I'd say I'm surprised, but I'm really not. These guys have just been at it, hammer and tongue, for the last 13 minutes. And again, no complaints from us in the commentary box, but they might be complaining a little bit later on in the race when it becomes a big lottery as to who's going to finish where. The positioning, in 30 minutes time, I would say largely they're going to be in a similar order, or at least a similar position in 30 minutes time. Nonetheless, we're getting some great action. Jesse Jones going defensive into turn 5. Alex Spets trying to close back in on David Sobrero, who for a moment NTC Sports was able to extend the gap to 7/10 of a second. That no longer is the case, as our 2 leaders of Pinto and Camilo continue to stretch their advantage up in front. David Sobrero, he's trying to hang on to that podium, and Alex Spets, I would imagine, for Drago, off the back of the shambolic Super Formula lights at Okayama, largely not due to any of their own faults, would like to again find themselves onto the podium. But like I say, there's still half an hour of this race left to go. How much is this track position actually consequential?
Almost 1/3 burned. Well, again, no pit stop, so I think track position is relatively consequential. That's why they're fighting at the front of this queue. Also trying to see if they can latch back onto the leaders. I think that ship has sailed. I think behind Delatrouse Automotive, 07 Racing, the ERE race team, 12th through 14th. They are looking to try and close slightly on the group that we're watching now, which has built up a bit more separation. A couple of teams that picked their way through the chaos and all the madness, battling amongst themselves. It's Will Murdoch, a lot more experience on Gran Turismo, but venturing a lot more into iRacing in the last couple of years. He's battling against Hadi Noah Mamasi at 34 and 28 positions gained respectively in this race.
Oh, Good effort, I'll be honest. Yeah, it just goes to show that in such a big grid, if you can just ride the wave and find your way through, you can definitely reap a pretty good result. Obviously, Grid and Go off the back of the victory at Okayama. Well, one of the cars at the very least, not this one, I don't think. But yeah, fighting inside the top 15. Good points on offer. BS Plus competition have had their, their shining moments in this event. Lacked the overarching pace to really contend, but still up there, fighting actually very closely with Drago for the top 5 in that championship, if you like. Drago, I think, have picked up a bit of momentum, so it's going to take a little bit more than this for BS Plus to solidify themselves inside the top 5 in terms of that team standings at the end of this event as we approach the closing stages. But for now, Will Murdoch hanging on pretty well.
And if you're wondering what team that is in 4th position, it's Redline, Kawanda, EMM, and then Sheza Esports. Daniel Ola has just slipped up to 9th position. They are almost 40 points clear of Drago Racing as it stands. The Drago Racing crew have had a really up and down VCO Infinity, where sometimes they have just been mixed up in some of that lap 1 madness, and it's held them back from competing. And part of that potentially is qualifying. You leave yourself in the danger zone. Redline have done a good job of putting themselves towards the top 10 on basically every occasion. Not everyone has had that sort of luxury in qualifying pace and dealing with the 1-lap pressure. Alex Spetz is now at the front of the field in this chasing peloton. Francisco Camillo still within a car length or 2 of Diogo Pinto as we head into the final 29 minutes of this 21st race on offer, and what is also our final race in the Radicals. What an interesting car it is. Definitely not one that many of these drivers will have had much experience coming into this particular event. And therefore, maybe, Zach, we've got to ask our winner what they thought about this particular car now that its piece has been said. Oh, Victor Wolfson looking aggressive on the back of Nikolai Peterson.
Yeah, down the inside of turn number 3. The second proper corner on the circuit, just able to get it stopped, pitched in, nicely done there from Wolfson, and up into the top 5. Kawanda, this is more like it. This is the sort of driving we expect to see. Flash the headlights from Pedersen, and side by side as well, the fight for 3rd. Definitely looks like they're enjoying the Radical at the very least. Alex Spetz later on the brakes, but I think in the end, David Sbrero going to win out on the inside of turn number 5 there. That's going to allow Wolfson and Pedersen to close back in, but the switch back up the hill, I mean, it's given us some good racing. Whether they enjoy driving it or not, this Radical is an absolute spectacle. Would have been nice to see a bit of a guest appearance maybe from like a Suelo Almeida to see what he thought and how he would get on in this field. But yeah, the SR10 definitely proving, I believe, the quickest of the bunch in terms of the Radicals.
At least that we have on iRacing. There are quicker cars that Radical have. Unfortunately, cars that I can actually fit in. The smaller the car that Radical makes, the harder it is for the tall of us to fit in, tall and small in the booth. You can presume quite correctly Zach Sweeney would fit in the various Radicals on offer.
Thank you.
It's just a statement of fact. There is no question about it. You would fit quite comfortably into the variety of Radicals on offer. Tom Drewer, Radical USA, giving a listen. Maybe you give us a ride. Maybe Zach gets the SR1, I get the SR10.
And we see who wins. You got the aerodynamic drag though. Your head's halfway out the car, so I reckon I'd fancy my chances. Let's put it that way. Interestingly, actually, from what I've heard, there's not too big of a pace discrepancy between each of the Radicals. Yes, there's a huge amount of power difference, but because they're the similar chassis, similar aero kit, they actually have their own merits and their own rights in terms of pace. David Sbrero definitely having some merit in terms of this battle. Back to the sharp end of the field as Alex Spetz starts to the inside. I think more as a spot my breaking point marker and not run into the back of the TC car in front. A brilliant battle between these 4, though, you have to say. Meanwhile, Diogo Pinto and Camilo continue to get away with 26.5 minutes left of this. Yeah,
this will continue. Olivier Piatek leads a second group that's increasingly dropping back. There's not much difference between the SR3, which now sits as the middle rung of the Radicals, and the SR10. The SR1 is a much more basic beast as 2x2 trickle down into turn 5. Long way around for former motorcycle racer Jesse Jones. Michael Kaibak tucked in behind. Daniel Ola, Maxime Naz for Maniti there too. In the big green machine. Meanwhile, Victor Wolfson alongside of David Sbrero as they sweep through the hurry downs, and Sbrero says no thank you to Nikolai Peterson, offering a move up the inside. A little bit close for comfort, but we'll get away with that one. And now that second group back inside of drafting range. How quickly things can shift around. And what a camera angle this is. You can never have a camera here in the real world. The joys of sim racing. Slap bang on the apex of the kink. The Radicals fly past.
God, what an angle. I love that. We need more of that. Yeah, we need to fight. There needs to be like a really low rising gantry. I know that would never happen in real life, but we need one. Yes, that battle though.
1 sec. I need to wait, wrong way. We're doing this live on air. There we go.
Boom. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Big props to the cameraman. I've seen some, have you seen there was a cameraman at the Winter Olympics on the speed skating that completely fell over and nearly wiped out one of the competitors. I would say that the cameraman would be in no way wiping out competitors in that sense. It would be a very poorly cameraman if that was in real life in the motorsport world. Yes. JC Jones, go on.
No, we need to find a way of making cameras that cars can drive through, which if anyone can defy the laws of physics, please do tell me. Jesse Jones, a little bit of a sitting duck. This is, again, quite a racecraft-driven race more than anything right now. Yes, there's the technical, hit your references, get on the power nice and smoothly, don't lock your brakes up, but for the most part, it's just understanding where momentum is going and riding it to the front of the field. We're nearing half distance. And at some point, these two will pull the pin. Diogo Pinto, Francisco Camillo will battle amongst themselves, but that point seemingly not quite on us.
This race is very reminiscent of high-level karting, right? That dynamic that you have where you're nose to tail with cars, and you're very easily and very capable of making moves, right? You can dart to the inside and not lose too much time relative to the pack. But it's then that, that overarching working together, like we've been seeing with Camillo and Diogo Pinto. They've been, they've been with each other. They've not been battling, and they've been able to, push each other to an extent that they've been able to get away from the chasing pack behind. The likes of Spez, Wolfson, Sobrero, Pedersen, and then that chasing pack that closed back into them. Very karting-esque. You wait, you sit in that train, you sit nose to tail, you get onto the back of them, and that's then when the melee continues. It's an incredibly precise style of driving, style of racing, and it makes for really good final laps where you've got loads of people sort of jostling and darting to each side of the circuit, probably I'd imagine in 22.5 minutes time where we are to that closing stage. Looking forward to that one.
Don't you do it. You and I, we do believe in the commentator's curse, right?
No, do not put me under that same umbrella. I know it's very easy for you to hold an umbrella over my head, but I will not be having it with the commentator's curse.
Oh no, you're one of these Luddites that does not believe in the commentator's curse.
I'm Lewis's kid, what can I say? Come on.
That's true, like father, like son. Too wide for a moment across the line. I very much believe in the curse of the commentator, especially given that, Victor Wolfson shoved out wide. Peterson will sweep up the pieces there, especially given that I've now not just done it in the sim racing world, I've done it in the real world as well. Out wide for Olivier Piatek. That was uncomfortable as he sent himself understeering into the grass. Michael Kaibach slips through. Daniel Ola now getting a shove from Maxime Naz as he pushes the air on the back of the Radical SR10. It's 8:30 now in the morning here on the east coast of the US. We are getting into breakfast time for any of the Americans who are racing with us. Good time to have a traditional Road America breakfast. Head to the Gearbox concession stand. Fried egg, cheese, and breakfast meat on top of a Sheboygan hard roll. Traditional egger. If you can't tell, Zach, the concessions at Road America are world class, and I am dreaming about them right now.
They sound very American.
Yes. Well, I mean, a bratwurst isn't necessarily American, is it?
No, that's true, but the combination of foods and the assembly of said concessions, very, very American, let's put it that way. I've just come back from Italy, and I have had some pretty decent food all weekends. In the north of Rome, I will say, the best pizza in the world, Naples. Oof. Any day of the week, you could have me a pizza in Naples.
See, they definitely would not approve of fried cheese curds. Of course.
They would. Do you know what? They really have a go at me for how the British make carbonara. They're like, you can't put ham in it. No, the Italians are very passionate about their food, as I think we all know. I think they would probably have a heart attack looking at anything served at Road America.
Oh, well, for cheese curds, Wisconsin staple, you've got to have them if you head to to the state. It's not just to the track. What are the other things that you would have at Road America? I'm trying to think. Well, there's one thing that's not maybe appropriate for 8:30 in the morning, but a good old Spotted Cow, a Wisconsin beer, one of the dozens of breweries around the area, but that's the one that seemingly is the most popular by all the racing community. And there's an age-old saying that you can buy a case if you want, but as soon as it crosses the state lines and you bring it back home, it just doesn't taste the same. 5 seconds the margin now between the top two and those trying to chase them down. Look at the big send from Maxime Naz. Pin pulled from him as we head into the final 20 minutes under the Corvette bridge into turn 6. He's now up to 9th.
Yeah, really nice move there. And again, it's that really good racecraft, that good awareness in these scenarios, in these pack racing dynamics, knowing when and when not to go for those moves. How can you maximize your progress through the train without detaching the carriage from the rest of them in of itself? It's very easy to get roped into a battle and let everyone else run away. And what I'm really impressed with Naz is that he's just able to carve his way through. And it's not like they can miss him. He's not exactly being a ninja. He's in a bright green car, and I can see that green. So definitely it's visible through the kink, and he's just slowly working his way forward, being patient, taking his time. And there is definitely a good result on the cards here. Jesse Jones, the one heading the field, of course, in that Falcon car, 15 positions from 22nd, up now into 7th, and once again detached from that main battle for 3rd in and amongst the top 5. But yeah, I have to say, Maxime Naz up there. Still 19 minutes left to go, though, so let's not... what was the phrase? Count our chickens yet, or something in that vein?
They are... I mean, count your eggs, I think, is probably...
Something like
probably
that.
more appropriate.
I don't have chickens.
Yeah. By the way, quick look at the points. You can see 1 point splitting Delatraz Automotive by Major's Garage and one of the Falcon Sim Racing machines in the fight for 9th. We're heading into the business zone of things where every point counts, and therefore with a position being worth a point, your track position increasingly will matter. Down the hill, the second grouping as well and truly lost. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So Michael Kaibach in 7th. As much as David Zabrera or Alex Spetz side by side in front of him. His attention preoccupied by Jesse Jones and Maxime Naz, who forces 3 wide. Pin pulled indeed. Once more down to turn 5. The big green machine stakes its claim to the inside and now roars up to 7th.
Yeah, what a move that was there. And again, great awareness. Now's the case, you've got it. Can you keep it? Right, obviously on the rear bumper, looking back at Jesse Jones, who's trying to get on the back of Maxime Naz once again. But yeah, the Maniti Racing, the German driver, up now into 7th position. The gap 2 seconds to Victor Wolfson just in front. I say just in front, a little bit a ways in front. But if they battle once again and the carnage ensues in and amongst that battle, well, Maxime Naz, don't count him out for a podium just yet. Still plenty of opportunities still to go in this race. Jesse Jones, the Falcon Sim Racing, and well, still in the slipstream, probably feeling a little bit of a wash through the kink. We saw it earlier that if you're in that slipstream, if you're in that tow, the Eclipse car in the Silverado went very wide earlier, but able to follow quite a little bit better these radicals. Inside line into Canada corner, not taken on that occasion, just showing his nose and putting a little bit of pressure onto Maniti. You
know, I think Jesse Jones would probably quite enjoy racing a motorcycle around Road America. It's one of the highlights of their year. They do some great motorcycle racing here, and well, it's an old school track, and that's why it's still loved by many. The fact that it's kept the charm of what made track so unique in the olden days. We have some gravel, but there's no wide asphalt to run off into by any means. This fight for 7th on back, I think, will only intensify. There are some teams up here, though, in the mix looking for some solid points. Drago Racing, TC Esports involved in potentially what could be a fight for 4th in the championship, but it's going to take Sheza Esports to have a little bit more struggles in the next 3 races.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Here goes Alex Spetz to the inside of the TC Esports car of David Sobrero. The all-red Drago on the inside. Of course, there you can see the yellow, the black and the blue of TC on the outside. Under the Corvette bridge and in towards turn number 6. The outside line being taken, keeping that momentum. Great respect between the pair of them. And now into 7. Interesting to see Pedersen and Wolfson not get overly involved in this battle either. Not the best of exits on that run, though. And this could allow Alex Spetz to launch a counter-attack.
Couple of issues down the field. Altitude Freem Esports, black flag for them. Hitting the incident limit. Also saw Project 91 spin for them down at turn 5. Through the carousel, holding each other tight, but giving each other that space needed. And now who blinks? Nikolai Peterson wants to force David Sobrero into submission. Rolls the speed around the outside in what is a sketchy corner at speed. One moment and you're hard into the wall on the outside. Think back to Joseph Newgarden's huge crash in the NTT IndyCar Series there in recent memory. All the fighting between these drivers and the fact that Maxime Naz is on a tear right now means 3rd through 6th could be joined by 7th on back in the next couple of minutes.
And that's why I don't think that chasing pack is battling too much. They know that there's something more to go and catch. Jesse Jones, obviously, you know, he likes his motorbikes. Obviously, the Radical, I'm sure he's feeling quite at home in terms of the torque and the power delivery because, well, it's a motorbike engine in the back. Of course, the style of racing, very reminiscent of sort of a MotoGP, Moto2-esque thing. So I'm sure he's probably loving this dynamic as Will Murdoch still battling away with Grid and Go, this time for 14th and 15th. So they have been able to gain a net position from the last time we checked in with them and pushing hard because they can see a huge train of cars in front of them that they're probably feeling a little bit of FOMO that they're missing out on it.
A couple of check-ins further back with some fights. Bike 500, the Argentine crew in front of Absolute Motorsport. Alessandro Porter at the wheel there. Thomas Eng Sim Racing, Wojciech Dvorak. Did see a whole handful of cars lose out on the race start, including the likes of Tatum Restec, Fiercely Forward, Lion GP, Mivano, BS Plus Hybrid. Some big names getting caught up here at Road America. Oh, little half spin there for Dvorak in the Thomas Eng Sim Racing machine. Avoids hitting the wall with what is 14 minutes to go. So while Maxime Naz has pulled the pin and started to ratchet up the pace, yet to see Capivara Racing Team and Francisco Camillo start to put the pace onto Diogo Pinto. Now, there's a big enough gap behind that I wager he could start to look for some moves if he wanted to.
But the thing is, in a complete isolation 1v1, right, you've taken away a lot of variables, haven't you? Like, fair enough, maybe Spets, Pedersen, Sobrero, that battle, you can move forward in the train and then try and get away because the other two are going to battle. In this, you get past, they're going to slipstream you back and launch a counter-attack. You can battle all you like and lose a lot of time, 7.5 seconds. You know, when you're battling, it's a handful of laps if you're battling really, really hard. When you pull the pin, it's then you're committed to that battle at that point. They can battle all they like, but realistically, I think it's only going to come down to the last 2 or 3 laps that in this battle in isolation is really going to matter. Ultimately, the last lap is the most important one. That is, of course, a given. But I don't think Camillo wants to risk losing out too much or bringing more people into this fight. I think he wants to have Diogo Pinto all to himself with just a couple of laps left to go and have an all-out brawl where they know they're going to be untouched.
Let's listen in here as we head down to turn 5. He's not doing any lifting, and by no means is he bouncing off the rev limiter and struggling to pull alongside. Well, I didn't quite feel like he was lifting off into the corner either, so I'm not quite sure what to make of this. What I make of this in the fight for 7th is that, well, they've decided they don't want to join the fight for 3rd. Maxime Naz passed by Jesse Jones. Behind him, Piatek and Kaibak, who have been locked in battle for closing on 35 minutes and counting. Bit of a gap then to Daniel Ola, Lorenzo Castellani, Sheza and 07 Racing. And off the road for Maxime Naz. Olivier Piatek will lose out as well, and 07 Racing, Lorenzo Castellani. We got an issue. Car stranded under that Speedville bridge, and it's the ERE race team and Tommy Razier.
Oh, goodness me. That is the worst place you want to drop it. And the rejoin not 100% either. Able to get back going with no further casualties, but that is huge. Such a shame for Miniti and Maxime Naz there. The racecraft and the battling up until that point was enthralling, but well, that's what happens when it tips over. Just too late on the brakes, straight into the back of the Falcon car.
So we'll take another look at it and then also see what happened to Piatek, to the ERE race team as well. So Piatek has to take avoiding action. Tommy Rozier comes through, and as Piatek is sideways on the track, he then just gets tagged as Piatek comes around. And oh my heavens, I need to see that on board from Hadi Noah Mamasi.
Yeah, I think that would be good to see. It's that thing. I think he did attempt to hold the brakes. We saw all 4 tyres locked there. Oh my word!
One more time on the nose cam.
Do you know? I would be checking the Spider-Man web flinging pose just in case, because the reflex is on display there. Oh my word! An off track, sure, but I think he can live with that.
Least of the worries there. They are still alive. And now the fight for 7th has well and truly dissipated. 3 abeam as they filter into the braking zone. Down at turn 5 once more. Spets, Peterson, Wolfson, Sobrero. The running order for the time being. Less than 10 minutes now left on the clock. Next up, remember, we make our journey over to Silverstone, break out the NASCAR truck machinery for the last time today before the last potential reign of Infinity. The Acuras at Fuji. Before we close things off in what will be, I think, one of the most bonkers combination of them all, Formula Fords at the Charlotte Roval.
Oh, that's going to be quality. I have got... Me and my girlfriend are supposed to be spending some time this afternoon. I might be having my phone up and watching that final race of Infinity, I will be honest, because it's going to be a cracker, isn't it? On board with Wolfson, and yeah, big lift there just to not get overly involved with the 2 in front. Yeah, I mean, the combinations, one of them had to go. Truly, very selfishly, I'm sad it was the Acura at the Roval that we don't get, but I understand why maybe that was cold. Formula Fords at the Roval though, that is just going to be pure bounce. The curbs there are pretty brutal. Obviously the dynamic of racing that's there, it's going to be pretty brutal, and I just think what a way to end off what has honestly been such a good Infinity always is a really good event. It's one of my favorite in sim racing. I love being a part of it for the times that I've been able to, and it's just a good event, and I think a really good race to crown things off with.
A bit of banter. I've got to ask, how did you say the manufacturer name?
For who?
The GTP?
Acura.
Oh, I thought I heard Acura. Yeah.
Which is it?
It's Acura. At least I thought it was Acura.
Accurately Acura, maybe.
Acura. Oh, there you go. I like that one. That's the way to maybe remember it. Acura. That sounds very, very posh, though. So maybe that is the right way to say it, given it's the luxury line.
British English.
Yeah, no. You've come up with a marketing component for them. By the way, Hadi Noah Mamasi and Will Murdoch, they're still fighting, but now for 9th and 10th positions. So make it 35 and 39 positions gained. Qualifying not going well. In VCO Infinity, it doesn't always make a difference. Lap times hovering around just under the 2-minute bracket, actually. So now that we burned a bunch of the fuel off, we're going faster than we did in qualifying. Using the same fixed race setup as these drivers started about 40-ish minutes ago. And I think that means, no question, Zach, we are getting 4 more laps at the line.
Here we go. And my question or my query that I want answered in the next couple of laps is, when does Camilo pull the pin and go for the move? I want to see Diogo Pinto under pressure. I mean, if I was Pinto, and obviously the talent between myself and Diogo, quite extreme, my race would be driven largely in my mirrors, right? Fair enough, through the corners you're going to try your best to focus forward, but on the straights right now I'd be staring. Is he going to go for it? Where do I have to defend? What do I have to go and do? Is he going to go for it? And you can see every time just cruises up onto the back, then drops back a little bit. Now I think that's going to work in Camilo's favor here, because Diogo Pinto has now been lulled into this sense of, oh, he's not going to go for it. You know, I'm safe. I don't have to defend. I think that's exactly when Francisco, he needs to strike at that point. He needs to make the most of some momentum before he gets sort of locked into a battle with Diogo Pinto, because I think it's going to be very unlikely he's going to get through and pull away.
I'm not feeling as though the pull the pin moment is anytime soon, unfortunately. Wait and see for a bit longer. There's a fight building for 16th position. Ride SimSport Bike 500 just swapped around. An all-Argentine crew, the predominantly white car, but with the multicolored highlights. Then behind them, Olympus Esports. Delatraz Automotive a little bit further down the running order for them, unfortunately. Jump up in proceedings down at turn 5. Sorrento Motorsports Esports trying to peel Impulse Racing out of 12th position. This is nice to see that even though plenty of cars, a good 15, 20 mixed up in some of the initial moments of madness, that they're able to finish this race and push to the very end. 5 and a bit minutes left on the clock. 3 laps to go this time by, and still nothing really building from Camillo. Maybe as well there's the element from the team where they'll say, you know what, we'd like second place here. There's no point really pushing too much and risking here.
Yeah, but yeah, fair enough. It'll be big for their respective championship position. But really, when are you next going to have an opportunity to win a race? Do you know what I mean? And especially against a driver like Diogo Pinto and Redline, right? On merit. It's one of those things where you kind of do have to sort of put it aside and you know, drive with your emotion and say, do you know what? No, I am going to go for this. Nikolai Pedersen under a bit of pressure from Alex Spets. Victor Wolfson for Coanda goes to the outside. I think momentarily thinking of drawing it 3 wide. In the end, they all settle back into single file through turn number 1, the battle for 3rd position. This is the 3rd to final lap, the anti-penultimate lap. Oh, God,
no, don't. If you do that, I am going to just kick you straight out of the commentary booth. Father like son indeed. All this nonsense, anti-penultimate lap. Oh, just keep it simple. Who needs to be so confused? To be fair, I'm confused on an almost constant
I'm not
basis.
Confused. It must just be you, Arjuna. Must just be a skill issue. Come on.
Hey, you're confusing the people. I have no idea what you're referring to. Capivara Racing, a chance to write themselves into the history books. Redline on course to win yet another edition of VCO Infinities. They'll do the clean sweep of iRacing editions. The only other team to have won an Infinity was when we ventured out onto Assetto Corsa Competizione. And the Renvelten group able to come out on top, but hard to really line that up in the same history lineage with what Redline have been able to do. And so really you would have to say, you know, that's 4 consecutive Infinities that Redline are looking to lock up.
Yeah, it's sort of like that spin-off, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, going for your Spider-Man movies and then going, oh, Madam Web as well. Not to say like Madam Web was, you know, not to compare the ACC Infinity to Madam Web or anything in that vein, but it's sort of that spin-off, a really cool event. But in terms of iRacing, in terms of, you know, some of the absolute best of the best, yeah, Team Redline have just been. I don't think that, I'm trying to think of a word good enough, but I don't think there's one that really does it justice. Ineffable, I think, is the word. Indescribable, I think that means, if memory serves me correctly. And Camillo swapping place with Diogo Pinto.
Yeah, by the way, just as I changed back over to the fight for 3rd, Capivara see that opportunity to write themselves into the stars and shoot to the lead. Now, is this calculated from Pinto, knowing that once he's back in the tow, he can slingshot his way back forward? Is he going to make the move back down into turn 5, or will he have a bit more patience? Remember, former Porsche Esports Super Cup champion, defending iRacing IndyCar Pro Series king. Long way round. And I don't think he's one to cut underneath. His nickname, Captain Consistent. Last thing he's going to do here, throw a rash move out.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Redline, to be fair, they've got, you know, not a lot to lose in the sense that it's pretty much wrapped up side by side into turn number 5. The red of Drago, that's Alex Spets on the inside of Victor Wolfson. This is the battle for the final place on that podium. 2 minutes left to go, so the penultimate lap this time by under the Corvette bridge and through turn number 6. Alex Spets goes through. Pedersen tries to get the up and under, but can't quite draw alongside the Coanda car, and still these 4 locked together. Oh, up over the bump there from Alex Spets.
I think that's aggressive defense, making it clear to those behind what the intentions are. This is going to build and bubble up onto the final lap. There's no question about that. Has Capivara Racing been saving the Hankook tires underneath them to be able to push in these final moments, because 3 and a bit tenths the buffer. Rolling the speed up into Canada corner, penultimate time. Remember, next race, Redline are on course to lock up the championship come the end of our final race with the NASCAR Truck Series machines. Is Diogo Pinto really going to lay it all out there for a single extra point As a white flag in hand, one more trip around Road America. It's 4 more miles for Capybara Racing to try and hold on to what would be a memorable race win. Up to turn 1, Pinto with the steam. It's the longest straight on the lap. Straight around the outside, he sends it, taps the brakes to try and avoid running into the gravel. And as they descend down to turn 3, it's going to be the exit here, trying to compromise Camillo. And now, in the slipstream once again, who blinks first on the brakes?
We'll find out in a few hundred meters time, all the way to the white line. Look at that, Camilo not taking any chances. Diogo Pinto keeping him pinned, then opening it back up. This slipstream, this slingshot was there. Still alongside though is the Capivaro car on the inside of turn number 5. Diogo Pinto sweeps the long way round, keeps his foot in just about, still side by side up towards turn 6.
But inside line could work here. Oh, Camillo's going to lean on Pinto. Tongue waggles there for the young driver, bottom left of your screen, and now cleared through the hurry downs. It's Pinto in front once more. Has he gone too early? There's going to be one more chance in towards Canada corner, and then out of Canada corner. Bill Mitchell-Ben could set something up into the final corner. Good sweep through the kink though for Camillo. Even in the face full of dirty air, he stuck the nose through the corner and up to the kink for the final time. It's full bravery on display.
Yeah, indeed so. He's going to need a good run here. Hook that curb, and look at that from Camillo in the slipstream. He's gaining and gaining. Pulls to the left. Pinto, of course, he's going to try and defend that into Canada corner. The final opportunity for Capybara to take victory, and they sweep their way around the outside. Pinto late on the brakes, now through the sweepers for the final time.
Bill Mitchell-Ben could settle it. Pinto the long way around. And while Wolfson and Spets are fighting for third, could we see a drag race to the line? Capybara Racing looking for history. Contact between the two as they begin to ascend up the hill. Neither driver knows, but Francisco Camillo, what a win! Capybara Racing, a storybook ending for them as we say goodbye to the Radicals at Road America.
What a battle, what a win, 29 thousandths of a second. It's not the first time Diogo Pinto has had a near photo finish in this event, and look at what it means to him. For Redline, it's another stat they can't go and get. But for Capybara, what a battle, and purely on merit. That was such a well-delivered race, well-executed race as well, and I'm sure a very elated driver as well.
Oh, love the emotion. Pinto, again, take it or leave it, another race win.